Alright, hello everybody. Hello Provo's most eligible fans. I can't believe that the show is over. The last 6 months of my life have been spent working on this project and it's over. And that is so crazy to me. But obviously I wanted to make a video for you guys explaining everything and spilling all the tea because these are secrets I've been holding in for so long and I feel like I'm gonna burst. But honestly, I'm exhausted. I have a lot going on right now. I don't even want to think about editing this video, so I'm not going to. And it's just going to be the raw footage. I'm just going to throw it up on YouTube, and this is the real deal right here. So, let's start talking about Scott, shall we? Basically, I have lots of people wondering, when did I know he was my winner, because on the show it looks like it was really early on, and it was really early on. It was even earlier than most people guessed. So I knew Scott was my winner since before we even started filming. So me and the other two bachelorettes met with Remington in the library the week before we started filming, and we went through all of the guys off camera. And we had all their headshots just laid out on the table, and we were looking through them. And then we pulled up their mutual profiles we had a projector, I think, and it was projecting them on the wall. If you've ever seen Princess Diaries 2, when she's like trying to find a husband or whatever, and they're in the movie room, and there's like it's basically like a mutual profile up on the screen. That's exactly what this was like, and it was so cool. Also really, really weird. But anyway, we're going through the profiles, and we get to Scott's, and I saw his red truck, and I immediately was like, oh my gosh, he drives a red truck, because for some reason I had this idea in my head. I always like guys that drive trucks or kind of like old, beat up, I don't know what it is. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna find a guy that drives a red truck. And so that came up, and I was like, oh my gosh, which, by the way, it's not even a truck, it's a Bronco, so whatever. But I was like, oh, he drives a red truck, and then I found out he was from Georgia, and I always loved the idea of, like a sweet southern guy, so I was like, oh, this is perfect. And immediately that night I said, that's my winner. And he was. So basically there's really not much to tell of my whole process of picking guys and whatever, because I knew that I liked Scott, and that's kind of what I was pursuing the whole time. And so I don't even know what to tell you guys next. Basically, throughout the show, I think it seems really, really fast. The finale and everything, it seems like we moved really fast. And we did. It was fast, but it wasn't as fast as it seemed because our relationship developed off camera a lot. And there were lots and lots of moments that you guys didn't see. So, anyway, we started filming in the beginning of June, and we finished filming July 15th. And, like I said, there's not much to tell, of our whole process, just filming. But filming ended, and we started dating, and it was good, it was fun. I'm gonna just say right now, because this is what everybody's wondering, we did break up, we're not together anymore, and no, I'm not engaged. That picture on my Instagram was a prank. I'm so sorry. Please don't hate me. Anyway, and so, yeah, we dated all through the rest of July, and then up until the end of August, actually. And if you watched the finale, you saw that he pulled out tickets to Georgia. We did go to Georgia. He actually wasn't the one that bought those tickets, but it's fine. And also, maybe I should just throw out there, I have nothing against Scott. I think he's a great guy, obviously, because I did date him, so there's a lot to like about him. But yeah, we had a fun time. We had a good time. We had a really great summer. But yeah, I'm struggling with how much I want to tell you guys, because I want to tell you everything, but I know that wouldn't be wise. So we went to Georgia in August, the very end of August, and I met the family, and they're so awesome and so great and just really wonderful, kind people. So shout out to them. I know you're all watching. Hi, Scott. Hi, Scott's family. Anyway, and so yeah, our trip to Georgia was really fun, and we had a good time. We actually also went to my best friend's wedding in Virginia as well on that trip. And then coming back from Georgia, we fly back, and the next day Scott called me, and we were just talking, you know, and he kind of brought up some concerns he had with our relationship, and he was saying, I don't know if this is the best thing long term. And I was kind of taken aback at first. I was like, what the heck? This is coming out of nowhere. But it really wasn't. And anyway, we ended that phone call with, you know, we're like, okay, we're going to think about this for a couple of days. And I was upset, like, you know, because I give my all. You know, like when I do anything, I give my all. And that with the show, I put everything I had into the show. I put everything I have into relationships because, you know, I date people that I see a potential future with. And so, of course, I'm going to try my best to do everything I can, you know, to, I don't know, make it work. And I don't want to sound like, I don't know. But I just give everything I have and to relationships and everything I do. And so I was like a little upset after that conversation. But once I started thinking about it, I was like, okay, I have to separate what was the show and what was real life. And that was when I realized that I had been avoiding a lot of things that had happened and had been happening that were signs that I should not be in that relationship. And I had over-romanticized it in my head because it was like this fairy tale, and it was, you know, because I happened to get on the show accidentally, and then I met this red truck guy, and, you know, it was just too good to be true, you know. And so I feel like I'm saying you know a lot. I'm sorry. I'm nervous. Anyway. So I had made it up, the way that I imagined it in my head wasn't the way that it actually was in real life. And it wasn't that magical in real life. And we both agreed that, so we ended that one phone call. A couple days later, we get back on another, and we both agreed that, like, it wasn't the best thing for us. It was very, very mutual. We ended on good terms, and we were both happy, so that was good. But, like, a couple of the factors that I noticed was the whole time we were dating, I kept thinking, this isn't as exciting as I thought being in love would be. But then I convinced myself, I was like, oh, well, I just am probably comparing it to the movies and everything too much, and it's not really like that. But, which is true, but it should be exciting, and it should feel magical. And so, anyway, and there were several things looking back that I ignored and I did not see. So we did end on mutual terms, and things are good, but when I look at it now, there was a lot that was wrong with that relationship, and I could not be more grateful that it didn't work out. I don't know. It was just, like, at the time, I really wanted it to work. Like I said earlier, I put everything I have into relationships, and I really wanted it to work because it was so perfect. And, you know, it was like, oh, the stars are aligning, everything's so great. And so I really, really wanted it to work, and that's why I stayed. And Scott always uses the line, just because there's two good people, doesn't mean you should be in a relationship or whatever, which is true. And that reminded me of something of the gem studio date, which we do need to talk about. But basically, yeah, we broke up, and it's all good. And there's no hard feelings, but I definitely am glad. I am so glad that I am not in that relationship anymore. So let's talk about a few things. First of all, the gem studio date. That was filmed 2 weeks ago. The show ended in July. That was filmed, when was that? November 5th or, let me see. That was filmed November 9th, 2 weeks ago. And here's the story. So Scott and I never went on our final one-on-one date where it was just me and Scott. We were supposed to go on a hot air balloon ride in July when we were in love and whatever. And we, like, it's kind of frustrating. So, you know, the other girls got these really cool dates, and they went skydiving and paragliding or parasailing, whatever it was. You know, they did all these really cool things. I was supposed to get a hot air balloon ride. And people watching that episode assumed that I was just so boring and I didn't want to do anything cool. That is a complete lie. I got gypped. So basically, we never filmed our final date. Remington knew that Scott and I were gonna, you know, start dating after the show ended. So he was like, oh, it's fine. We'll just film it in a couple weeks. And I remember I told Scott several times, I was like, we're not going to film this until the week before the episode comes out. And I was right. We filmed it a few days before the episode came out. And yeah, and so Remington would say things like, you guys can't break up. You can't break up. And I'm like, well, I can't guarantee that. Anyway, obviously, like I told you, we did break up in August. And we went on that date 2 weeks ago in November. And there's so much. Oh, there's so much to this story. So Remington calls me on Thursday, and he's like, hey. No, was it Thursday? No, it was Friday. Oh, no, Wednesday. Oh, my gosh. So he told me earlier in the week on, like, Wednesday. He's like, hey, you guys are just going to go out and have a nice dinner. And at this point, you know, I was like, I don't want to go on a date with my ex. Even if we ended on good terms, when I end things with someone, I don't want to see him again. I don't want to talk to him again. I am not friends with exes. So, anyway, and he was like, you guys are just going to go to a nice dinner. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine, whatever. As long as I get good food, it'll be worth it. Because we had to film this date or it would make no sense. I would have gone on 2 one-on-one dates with Josue, no one-on-one dates with Scott, and Scott wins. Like, it makes no sense. So, anyway, we were supposed to just go get a nice dinner. I was fine with that. It was whatever. Then Friday comes around. Remington calls me, and he's like, hey, we might have to reschedule the date. We were supposed to go on Saturday. He's like, we might have to reschedule it for Monday. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I planned my whole weekend around that one stupid thing that I didn't want to do. I was going to be down in Provo all weekend, basically just for that. Not just for that, but that was the event everything was surrounding. And I was like, I'm not changing this. Like, it was just stupid. And then I asked him where we were going, what we were doing, and he said, oh, you're going to go get ice cream. And I was like, I'm going to go, what? Like, B gets to go skydiving and I get to eat ice cream with my ex? How is this fair? Like, I already have the least amount of screen time. I need something. So, anyway, I was so mad. And Remington asked me, he's like, are you mad? And I was like, oh, no, I'm fine. It's all good. And then I call Afton. Afton is the one that, like, scheduled all the dates. She did everything on the show practically. And I was like, Afton, you're never going to believe what crap Remington's trying to pull. Which, by the way, Remington, if you're watching this, I have no hard feelings. You know that, right? Like, we're good. It was just this one thing was so annoying. So I'm like, Afton, are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. I was so mad, like ranting and going off. And then she was like, are you kidding me? That's so dumb. And she fixed it in 20 minutes. She booked the gem studio, and she also got, like, scheduled or got a reservation at Brick Oven for us to go eat out after, which didn't happen. I'll tell you that in a second. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. It'll at least look kind of equal to the other girls' dates, kind of. So anyway, Saturday rolls around, and I didn't want to be there. But I was like, I'm going to do this. It's going to be fine. And I thought I'd have a chance to redeem myself and be fun and whatever on the show. But I couldn't do it. Like, I walked into that room, and there's been probably a select handful, like a few times in my life, maybe 2 or 3 times that I can think of, where I instantly felt unwanted, and that was one of those times. I walked into the gem studio, and I was like, I don't want to be here. I can't do this. And so, I also forgot to mention that, let's go back for a second. When Scott called me the first time to kind of talk about breaking up before we officially broke up, after that call, when I thought about everything and I was like, yeah, he's right, I went to bed, woke up the next day, and I was completely over it. And so if you're wondering if it was hard for me to watch the show, nope. I never missed him. I never wanted to go back to him. And I was kind of worried. Like, when we broke up and the show wasn't coming on yet, I was completely fine, but I was like, I don't want it to come back and then I'll be all up in my feelings and like, oh, you know, what a great, I don't know. But that was not the case. I never had any desire to go back to that relationship. I never missed him. So there you go. Just in case you were wondering, it wasn't hard for me to watch. I've had this really weird emotional disconnect the whole time the show's been happening. It's like, I know that's me on the screen. I remember doing those things, but I don't feel anything. Like, I don't feel any sort of attachment to it, which is so weird. Anyway, so the gem studio date. So although I was completely over him, I still am completely over him, I still didn't want to go. And I walked in and I didn't want to be there. And it was terrible for me. It was so uncomfortable. It was just awkward and it was tense. And those are like the best 2 words I can use to describe it. And yeah, I don't even know what to say about it, but it was awful. And after that, I felt like crap. So if that tells you anything. Anyway, so yeah, the gem studio date happened. There is a little secret there that Scott doesn't even know happened. And there's like, I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. Maybe I'll tell you in like a week or so. But right now it's still a little secret. And then you guys can go back and watch it and you'll see it and you'll know what I'm talking about. But anyway, so if you notice that gem studio date was a little awkward, that's why. It's because we broke up in August and we just went on that date 2 weeks ago and it was terrible. So there's a story. Oh, and also the reason we didn't go to dinner was partly because everyone was so uncomfortable. No one wanted to be there. And it was like everyone had kind of burst out in nervous laughter every so often throughout the day because we're like, this is so awkward. How do we cope with this? Anyway, and so yeah, we didn't go to dinner because nobody wanted to be there. Also because someone had to get home to watch a football game. And so anyway, it was me, obviously. Yeah, but that's the story behind that. And overall, even though things didn't work out, I'm still so grateful for the experience. And I'm so glad I was able to be on the show, even though it was hard sometimes. And it wasn't, I don't know, it was still so great. And if I was just someone watching the show and I heard, one of the cast members saying, oh, it was life-changing, definitely a once-in-a-lifetime experience, I'd be like, yeah, right, it's just a silly Provo YouTube show. No, it was real. Like, that was my real life. And I am glad it's over. But I'm also so grateful that it happened, and I'm so grateful for all of you and just your support, and that you've been there all this time, and you've been Team Ellie, and you've just been lifting me up throughout this whole thing. When I went to the viewing for the finale, afterwards talking to everyone was so kind, and just I felt so loved, and after that I was like, this was all worth it. This is so cool that, we're all together in this thing. I don't know, it just made it all feel worth it, and that's really all I can think of to say about it. So thank you. It's been a wild ride, and I am sad that it's over, but I'm also really glad that it's over. And as far as my life right now, it's good. Life is really, really good. I thought that it couldn't get better back in July or August, but I was wrong. And it's just crazy to me how many times things do fall apart. And you think it's all over and you're done for, but then something so much better comes and just proves you wrong. So anyway, life is good. I'm going to be doing Vlogmas, so look out for that. I'm really, really excited, actually. That should be lots of fun. And yeah, stay tuned on my social media for updates about my life. Thank you for being there for me and for coming along on this journey. It's been a fun one. It has been so crazy, and I'm so grateful for it. So anyway, thanks for sticking through this video. I feel like my words were all just jumbled and I was crazy, but anyway, I'm gonna sign off now. So peace out, Provo.